And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Tessa Kidd, who during her near-death experience saw her great aunt and Jesus. Tessa, thanks for joining me and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Tessa, if you don't mind, let's start on the day that you had your NDE and go from there.
Sure. I was a horse trainer. I rode hunter jumper and show jumpers and dressage horses in Burbank, California. And I was on my own horse, luckily. I happened to be cooling him down. He was green. He was a young Dutch warmblood. And we were walking around the ring on a long rein, and something spooked him. And as he bolted, he kind of reared up at the same time. And I started grabbing for my reins and pulled him over on top of me. And before he landed on me, I popped right out of the top of my head. I didn't feel any pain at that point. I didn't experience him landing on me. I just was right out of my crown. And I was kind of hovering above where the accident was. And I was a little confused at first, a lot confused at first. And I don't know how far above the accident I was, maybe 20 feet or so. And but I looked down and I could see my dog. I had an Australian Shepherd that was attached to my hip and was very, very loyal dog. She was on top of me trying to, I don't know, she was like pawing at me, and she was very upset. And I didn't really know what was going on at the time. I was just kind of watching this scene unfold, and I could see people running over to me, and I saw the horse get up and walk away like nothing happened. And all of a sudden I have like a realization that that's my body. That's what's going on. Again, I didn't have a care in the world, honestly. And immediately as I popped out of my head, I had this very enjoyable, like a buzzing in my body. My body was like vibrating, and it was very pleasant. And yeah, immediately I knew that this is something that I wanted to continue to experience. I had never really knew what love was at that point in my life. And I was 25 years old at the time. It's been a long time. And I had never really experienced like true love. And I immediately knew what the feeling of love was, the vibration of love at that moment. And so I'm watching this unfold, and, somebody's grabbing my dog, trying to hold her off of me. And the ambulance came, and they loaded me up in the ambulance. And I rode in the ambulance as they took me to the hospital. I hovered in like the corner of the ambulance and watched them work on me. And I don't want to miss anything. So let me, as we drove to the emergency room, as I kind of feel like as we got closer to the emergency room, I started getting pulled back and pulled back and pulled back. And then all of a sudden I was buzzing very happily, very, very full of love. And I never made it to the emergency room with my body, but I was pulled back into like kind of like a empty space, and very pleasant. I wasn't upset at all. It was very homey, and my body still was buzzing with this love. And as I kind of started traveling it's almost like a tube, and I could see like a little speck of light at the end of the tunnel, kind of like a cliche, but and I started moving faster and faster and faster to this light. And as I went faster, I all of a sudden was in this kind of like a foggy white space. It wasn't a room. It wasn't a building. It didn't really have walls that I could see. And I was in front of a very old woman, and she had the lightest blue eyes that I've ever seen on a person. And she had a beautiful purple cloak on, and she exuded love for me, to me, and I felt the same to her. I had unconditional love for her, and I knew her from somewhere. And she said, Tessa, you have to go back. And I said, I don't want to go back. And again, I was just buzzing with love, and it didn't matter to me that I had left my body and left my dog and my horses, and it didn't matter to me. I wanted to stay. So I told her, I want to stay. And she says, no, you have to go back. And as I'm kind of communicating with her, she wasn't like talking to me. She was speaking to me. It was in my head. It was like telepathically. Her lips weren't moving. I don't know if mine were or not either, but as I'm telling her, no, I don't want to go back, I feel somebody walk up to the side of me. Actually, there was two energies that walked up beside me on my right-hand side. And as I turned to look at them, I immediately knew that the one right next to me, was just a giant ball of light, was Jesus Christ. And I want to preference this as I was not religious. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in an afterlife. I thought when you died, you were dead. I wasn't raised with any kind of religious beliefs. So I had nothing to influence me to think that Jesus Christ would be meeting me in the afterlife. So I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And there was another ball of light. I don't know who it was, but it was somebody that was high up vibrating this love. The feeling of love was so great that I can still imagine it and feel it at times. If I'm sitting quietly, I can still feel it. So anyway, I turned to him and he said, you have to go back. You have to learn how to forgive. And as soon as he said that, I was back in my body. And immediate pain, and there was chaos going on around me. And I felt almost immediately, I felt like I kind of, when I tell this story to people, I tell them that I felt like I was in a wetsuit that was just way too tight on me. Like I was in a child size wetsuit, and I was not child size. I was crammed back into this body that I didn't fit in anymore. And I was actually really mad for a really long time that I was back. I had a lot of animosity towards coming back. Anyway, all this chaos was going on, and later on in the hospital, it was only one nurse that really sat and talked to me while I was there. And I told her what happened, and she says, oh, honey, that happens all the time. like it would, like she heard it, hundreds of times. And I had never, at that point in my life, I had never heard or knew what happened. I was kind of scared afterwards to go to sleep, afraid that it was, even though I enjoyed it, I was afraid it was going to happen again. So, I mean, that's kind of my experience. I was really mad that I got sent back.
Tessa, thanks for sharing your story with us. Mm-hmm. What I love about your story is you did not experience any of the pain of the accident. You were already out before it happened.
Yeah. I kind of have now, as I'm much older now, but I kind of have like an agreement with myself that I will not experience the pain coming up to my death, whenever that is. I know that I can just exit out of my body now. I have agreement with myself that I'll do that.
It's interesting that Jesus told you that you need to learn how to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have some resentment issues or something?
I do have resentment, even still now. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Just growing up, not really feeling like I experienced a lot of love as a child, and going into my adulthood, that's only how I feel. But yeah, there's some resentment still, and I have definitely improved, and I feel like it wouldn't happen again if I went there. I don't think. I understand what I am working on, and I'm sure I'll continue to work on that for probably the rest of my life.
Since you experienced the ultimate love, did it give you unrealistic expectations in choosing a partner later in life?
I could say yes. I struggled with all relationships as an adult, and now I'm in my 50s, and I finally found somebody that I settled down with. It took me a very long time to let it happen naturally, instead of just seeking out what I was looking for specifically, which is pointless. You're never going to get that, and it probably wouldn't be real if we all got exactly what we wanted in a partner. So yeah, I still struggle with relationships outside of a marriage. Outside of a marriage relationship, I struggle with family relationships still, and I'm sure that's who I need to forgive, is a couple of my family members still, and I'm just not ready to forgive them yet, I guess. I mean, I've worked very hard on it, but I can say, oh yeah, I forgive them, but in the back of my mind, I know that I haven't.
Your husband is also a near-death experiencer. Do you think that you and him have some sort of unspoken bond because you've had the same experience?
Probably. We both feel very comfortable talking to each other about it. He has a much vaster, bigger, multiple experiences is what he's had, and he's he's not as comfortable talking to it with other people, I don't think, but with me, actually, that's what we bonded over when we met, and is the both of our near-death experiences, the ones that his main one that he had, and then mine, of course, they were completely different. There's nothing even close to being the same, but he was open enough to understand that, mine was mine and his was his, and that everybody is different. And he was raised with religion, so that may have something to do with his. I'm not really sure, but.
Do you think that you can recognize if a person's had an NDE even without speaking to them? Like something about their energy or their presence?
I don't know if I would be able to. I will say that when I healed, and I was kind of trying to figure out what the heck happened, and really like work out, how I was going to move forward with life, knowing that my soul was separate than my actual body. That was a huge challenge. And sorry, my dog's playing right now. I, for a very long time, could have out of body experiences without, not near death experiences, but I could leave my body very easily with little effort. And especially at night, I could travel all over, having out of body experiences. And I really sought out literature and books and videos and all sorts of information on how to do that so I could control it a little bit better. I've since don't really dabble in that anymore. I've had enough experiences having out-of-body experiences, like being out of body, but it was much easier for me to separate myself from my body afterwards. And I don't feel like I have like any kind of intuition that is like, I know some people have this crazy psychic ability when they come back, and yeah, I don't think I have that. Or I'm just, it's not that I'm closed off to it. I've just never really practiced. And I'm sure if I practiced, I would be able to do something. I can see auras very easily. I can see, especially like trees and stuff, plants. If I sit back and really concentrate, I can see all of the auras, especially at night. They're almost vibrant. I could not do that before I had my death experience. And I can see my own aura. I can see auras on certain people, especially if they have really bad energy, or if they're really sick. A lot of times I can see this kind of a gray aura, grayish aura. I definitely couldn't do that before I had my experience.
At any point, were you clinically dead and they had to revive you?
9 minutes.
9 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. I don't remember that. I wasn't even there. Like, I was gone at that point. But yes, 9 minutes was my time that I was clinically dead.
After you came back, did you take any interest in Christianity since you met Jesus?
You would think I would, but no. I would definitely say I am more spiritual than anything. I let people believe what they believe. I did have a friend that, a very good friend, that took me to church a few times, and I did not enjoy going to church. They didn't preach love. They, at this particular church, they didn't preach love. They preached, fear, hell, behave yourself, things like that. And so they preached out of fear. I did not appreciate that. I'm sure that if I found a church or a religion that preached love and only love, that I would totally go to that.
Out of all the books that you read about out-of-body experiences, is there one that you feel like gave you the best information?
There was, I can't remember the name of it now. It's been many, many, many years, but there was one that, how I knew I was getting, it kind of gave a definition on how you're getting close to leaving your body. And it said one triggering thing to me that I knew I was doing it right was, it sounded when you started to leave your body like it was crinkling paper, like newspaper, and you crinkle it up. And that's how you know when you're just about ready to leave your body. That is exactly what happens to me when I was leaving, especially at night. I was still awake, but I was in that almost asleep stage, but still concentrating and being quiet to try to leave my body. But that's how I knew I was getting close, is I could hear that like crinkling, Velcro type of a sound. And but I don't remember what book it was. I read many, many books, as many as I could.
Did you ever try to go back to the hospital or paramedics and see if you could verify what you saw while being out of your body?
I didn't actually. No, you couldn't get me out of that hospital fast enough. It was not fun. I wanted to get back to my animals. I wanted to get back to my horses. And I was scared for a really long time about it. And then when I moved to LA, or from LA to Seattle, I barely even speak to anybody that I knew down there anymore. It's been so many years. I still have friends, but I guess I could probably go back and try to find my records and figure that out. But I just know what that nurse told me that I told my experience to, and she basically gave me the gist on what happened from the time that she saw me until the time that I remember coming back into my body.
Do you fear death at all?
No, zero. No, I do not fear death. Nope.
When you were traveling in the tube, like through a tunnel, were you in some sort of like pod or something?
Not that, not that I could tell. I didn't feel like it was inside of a room or a pod or a car or a ship or anything like that. I just felt free and I felt very comfortable. And the faster I started to go, the more enjoyable it was. I can even remember myself going woohoo as I was traveling to the light. And I don't know if that happens to everybody. I do know that there are some people that travel to a light. I haven't heard anybody do it the same way as me, but no, I don't think so. I felt, God, I can't even put it into words. I felt like I was I was in like a sitting position, and it was kind of going uphill a little bit. It wasn't flat. So I was going up. I can't even put it into words. It was just like an open space. I wasn't confined. There wasn't anybody there with me. I was definitely alone. It was dead quiet. I can't even, it's like your background that you have. It was just a space.
Has the memories of the experience faded over time?
No. I will tell you, there are a few things that I really remember. I remember when I popped right when I popped out of my head, the colors were vibrant. The sky was super, super blue. The trees around the equestrian center, everything was really green, like colors that I had never really experienced before. Also, the old woman, her name is Gladys. Her eyes, they were so blue, and like a blue I'd never experienced before, almost like a turquoise blue. And I'll never forget it because it was something that I'd never seen that color before. And all the colors, you go to the Lowe's and you go through all the paint colors, and I've never seen a blue like that.
While we're on the topic of colors, did you happen to see anything that reminded you of glitter? Or, you know, when you look at some kind of like stickers and things, and it's kind of like a rainbow colored hologram within stickers, like especially like tags on merchandise.
I know what you're getting at. I didn't. When I appeared in front of Gladys, it reminded me of like fog, except it wasn't cold. But it was very light, and but it was kind of a foggy, misty look to me. And then when Jesus, the ball of light, came up to me, he was, it wasn't like looking at a light bulb. It was a very large human size ball of light, but it had a glow from within, but it didn't project any light out. I'm not even sure how to say it, I guess. I mean, it didn't like light the way like a flashlight would, you know. And it also reverberated this amazing feeling of love. I can't even explain what that feeling is like.
Did you have any other communication with Jesus?
Nope. He just told me, he just said, I turned to him, and he said, you have to go back. You have to learn how to forgive. And within the second, it's not like I went down a slide. I heard some people, when they enter back into their body, they go down a slide, nope, I was just boom, back into my body. I literally like fell right into my body. And it was kind of like, if you ever have falling dreams and you feel like you're falling in your dream, and then all of a sudden you like wake up. It was similar to that, but I definitely wasn't asleep. And I had instant pain, instant excruciating pain. And I knew that I was alive again. So I guess pain could be a good thing. It tells you when you're alive.
And immediately you were angry?
Immediately. Not only because of what I had experienced, I was very confused about that for a long while. I was angry that there was so much commotion going on, coming from something so peaceful and such an amazing giant hug of love. Basically, this vibration, it's like that electrical vibration that you wouldn't think would feel good, but it actually does. It's pretty amazing. To being squeezed back into this the body, just being so claustrophobic for so long after I got back into my body because my skin was so tight on me. Very uncomfortable. It was awful. That's really what made me mad. I was mad, really, really mad that I was sent back and I couldn't stay.
Well, I can tell you that it's common for people to be angry when they come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're not alone in that.
I hate to say that because like I should be happy that I'm alive and that I have this chance to fix. I mean, honestly, if I learn how to forgive, that's the only thing I have to learn how to do before I can go back. Not that I feel like I want to go back. You know, I love my life, but if that's the one thing I have to learn, that's a hard thing to learn. I hate to say it. You'd think it'd be easy. I thought it was going to be easy, and it's not.
Over the years, have you thought about why do we come here and do we come over and over again? And what's the point of all this? And if so, what have you resolved?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Being separated and knowing that my soul this is just a vessel basically that I'm in. I definitely believe in reincarnation now, for sure. I feel as though we continue to cycle through lives kind of until we get it. I feel like I've probably been here many, many times before. I did go through a crazy time where I had some past life regression done afterwards with a hypnotherapist, and it was pretty enlightening. It was during my experimental time of why am I here, and how many times have I been here, and I went twice. I had two separate experiences. One, I didn't really didn't have a huge impact on me, but another one of my first one, when he regressed me back, I looked down at my shoes, and I had, if anybody's ever seen pilgrim shoes, kind of got like a buckle on the toe. I was a male, and my wife and child had just died during childbirth, and I was devastated. And I just remember just being so sad and broken, and then looking down at my shoes, and then that's all I remember. But that was a regression that he took me back to. The other one, I can't even remember. It was so I don't know if it was real or if it wasn't real or what. But this one, I kind of remember it like I had my death experience. I remember in my head, I can run through it over and over and over and over and over and over, and it's always the same. It's exactly the same every time. I still get the same feelings that I had when I was out of body. The same thing when I was regressed back. I still can feel the feelings, the sadness, and of losing my wife and my child that I never even got to meet. Yeah. So I've done a lot of soul searching, literally, since then. A lot of meditation, lots of meditation, and really just trying to figure out why we are who we are, and why are we here, and what are we supposed to be doing here, and why are some people more adapted than others, and why are there good people, why are there bad people, and I don't know. It's an unknown.
If you take a look back at your entire life, do you think that it was set up for you to practice and learn this whole concept of forgiveness? Like you had all these hard times and betrayals and whatever else happened to you, which I don't know. Does that make
all of
sense
the
to
above.
you?
Yeah, that's a really good, it's a really good question. Yeah, I do. I definitely think that things happen for a reason. I definitely think that we have like an agreement of what the path that we're going to take when we are in this life. Of course, we have free will. I still think we have free will, so we can turn, take one path and not experience that, but experience something else that maybe was in agreement. I do feel like we also have the people in our lives for a reason. Like my parents chose me. I was adopted. I think that was meant to be. And my lack of experiencing love throughout my childhood, I feel like was meant to be that way as well, to make me grow as a person. I do feel like everything that we experience is meant to be, like, for sure.
If you hadn't had the NDE, do you think you would have understood that forgiveness is something, or perhaps the main thing that you needed to work on in this life?
Probably not the main thing. That's also makes me think. I've always known that I held grudges, and that's how I protect myself. I kept the people that should not be in my life away by holding grudges. And the reason I haven't fully figured out how to forgive is probably because I don't feel like I want those people back in my life. So it's hard for me to fully forgive somebody without letting them know that I forgive them. I feel like that's part of the process, but in all reality, it isn't. I just feel that way. And maybe someday I'll be able just to let go and, wish them well and hope they have a wonderful life, because I have a wonderful life now. And, hopefully I really do work on it. It's a daily thing for me to try to forgive.
If we use your life as an example, do you think that there's a way that we can look at our own lives and try to figure out what we're supposed to be learning here?
Yeah, I would say what you fear most is probably what you need to work on.
All right. Well, after watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
Yeah, sure. They can, what's the best way to get a hold of me? They can email. I have a little leather shop. They can email at to my leather shop. It's seattleleatherworks@gmail.com. That's the best way to get a hold of me, probably. That's all one word, Seattle Leather Works with an S.
All right, that's cool. What do you do for leather? What do you make?
Oh, I do everything. I make beautiful handbags. I used to actually do it for a living, and I got to where I didn't like it anymore, so I stopped doing it for many years. And I picked it back up, and I pretty much do handbags. I used to make equestrian tack. I don't make saddles anymore. They're very time consuming. They're very expensive. But I make a lot of holsters for all sorts of different custom holsters for guns that have, sights on them and that they can't get, holsters for. Knife sheaths, handbags. I've made all sorts of stuff. I make everything.
So if people would like to have you make something for them, personalized or special,
have them email me.
They can email you. That's cool. I was going to ask you, do you make saddles or chaps or something?
I used to. I do make chaps. They're very expensive. Leather is extremely expensive. I can't compete with the merchandise that comes from overseas. I just can't compete with that. My stuff is custom. It takes me hours and hours and hours to make. So I really only deal with the people that know the value of my craft.
Well, before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
I would say live life every day like you are not going to have tomorrow. So tell the people that you love them. Forgive the people that you need to forgive, for them and for yourself, really. And don't live in fear. Fear is the one thing that will hold you back from being a complete person.
Tessa, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.